It's the go-home show to Takeover Chicago 2, and yeah, Money in the Bank doesn't stand a chance, does it? Let's talk about NXT. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your June 13th NXT go-home show for Takeover Chicago 2 review. As you guys know by now, got to do the house cleaning first. If you're watching me for the first time, check the annotation up above. You're going to see a whole bunch of playlists there. My previous NXT reviews, my brief stint of doing 205 Live reviews, the Off the Cuff series where myself and Kristen just recently fantasy booked a women's tag team division. You're going to see the Tackle series, which I'm going to invite you guys either tomorrow or Friday. Myself, Kristen, and Guapo are going to do the Tackle and the pay-per-view pick 'em for not only TakeOver Chicago but Money in the Bank as well. The Q&A is there. If you want to be part of the next Q&A, go to the last Q&A, put your questions there. I'll be doing that sometime over the weekend as well. Yeah. Wanted to really nail home the video that Kristen and I just did on the women's tag team division, because it was a lot of fun, and the pick'em that's coming up either tomorrow or Friday, because it seems to be a lot of fun as well. A lot more of you have been hopping on board on that recently, which is really, really fun. Like I say, fun is the key word. I'm not funded on this channel. This is a hobby. This is just for fun. I don't get any money from this channel, so I have not really any money to put into this channel. If you win, you get a shout out in my next video. That's basically it. That being said, let's go on to NXT. NXT, where a lot happened, but not a lot happened. It's not what you would picture for a typical go-home show, and it works. After Raw tried to have a go-home show, after SmackDown tried to have a go-home show, NXT did a whole bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with TakeOver that still got me excited for TakeOver. How's that? How's that for a little trick from the yellow brand? We started off with the War Raiders taking on some more jobbers, which I would just leave it at that, except I love talking about the War Raiders because you guys, a lot of you, know these guys from ROH or wherever they've been before, War Machine, etc. I mean, I heard the rumblings way before they actually got to NXT, but War Raiders are brand new to me, and they're a lot of fun, and, you know, I think Mauro Ranallo calls them the modern-day Vikings or something like that, but it just, to me, it just seems like you're hanging out and chilling with two cool guys in a mosh pit, which is fine by me as well. They do have to get away from the jobber matches before they get into early Braun Strowman or early Nia Jax territory. I mean, nobody wants to be in Nia Jax territory. Anyway, Nia Jax is trying to bully Ronda Rousey, folks. Let's just go with that. I fell asleep through Raw, so I don't even know how their little face-to-face thing went. But I'm not here to talk about Raw. I'm here to talk about NXT. I want to give it an up, not a down, as the guys over at What Culture would say. But Hansen tosses the guy across the ring to start the match and bounces him off the turnbuckle just enough to get a lariat. And double team kitchen sink was a really cool thing, because you got Hansen, threw him into Rowe's kitchen sink. Kitchen sink, for those of you that don't know, is that big heavy knee to the gut. That's what it was in the old video games. That's what I call it here. But you know, one of them threw it into the other, and then one of them threw it into the other. So what do I call it other than a double team kitchen sink? Headbutt to the sternum and a discus forearm by Rowe. Rowe, the smaller of the two, is still a terrifying looking individual. Splash by Hansen and a bicycle kick by Rowe. Now Rowe, once again, I gotta say, being the smaller guy, picking up the bigger Hansen, basically muscling him into the corner where the guy that they're facing, I'm sorry, I don't write down jobbers' names. That probably makes me an asshole, but it's one more reason for people on Twitter to call me an asshole. The jobber in the corner is already sort of in that slouched kind of, you know, waiting to get a stink face or something like that position. Basically throws his partner into him, but not in the typical Irish whip, just like chucks him as a weapon. It's good. High knee by Rowe, and then they hit that leg drop suplex combination, which I really hope they come up with a name for soon. And they get the win, obviously, and the jobbers are laid out in the ring while they call out TM61. TM61 doesn't show up, obviously, because they fucking suck, and I don't know why they take up space on my television screen, but they grab this, one of the jobbers, you know, show of strength to back up their threats to TM61, and they pop him up like like a Kevin Owens pop-up powerbomb, but it's a pop-up into a front slam. The first time I watched it, I only caught it out of the corner of my eye because I was watching my notes, etc. I thought he popped him up into a mid-air Styles Clash, but it turned out the fellow was facing the other way. So it's a pop-up front slam. It's a double team pop-up front slam. Throw a name for that down in the comment section below. We have it commented on later on in the night that indeed the War Raiders are going to take on TM61 next week, which is all good and it's all wonderful. The cameras in the back spy on the Undisputed Era because Kyle O'Reilly has a title shot against the UK champion Pete Dunne at the end of the night, which makes my sister-in-law very happy, so I was bugging her on Twitter quite a bit as well, for those of you that follow me. But while the camera is on the four guys, Cole notices the camera and freaks the fuck out, basically with the whole, you don't tape the Undisputed Era unless we tell you to tape, but he just, like, he goes from 0 to 100 and freaks out on this cameraman. Like, it makes them seem very suspicious, and for a group like that that's already kind of devious, it did a really good thing in a very short amount of time. They did a great video package on the Gargano-Ciampa feud. And guys, again, if you've been watching me for a long time, what do I say about video packages? WWE does them fantastic. NXT does them fantastic. But there's only so many times I can come up and say, hey, NXT gave us another awesome video package. So it's a video package. It's there. It does the job. The match sells itself. If there's ever... Gotta be careful that I don't overstep here, but for myself personally, there hasn't been a match that's like a pure wrestling match or a pure wrestling rivalry that sells itself as much as this one does since Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk. That's my take on it. That might be a controversial take on it. Other people might have other things to say. Obviously the DIY tag matches that they had with a rival, I was there for one of them at TakeOver Toronto, fucking fantastic. But as far as one-on-one, Gargano-Ciampa reminds me of Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, but we only got a little bit of that in WWE, which makes me a very, very sad boy. CM Punk's over in UFC right now, getting the shit kicked out of him, but good for him. He beat Dr. Aman in court and basically told WWE to go fuck themselves again. I'm going to have some thoughts on that during the preview for Money in the Bank as well. EC3, if I wasn't already a big enough fan of EC3, EC3 took care of Cassius Ohno for me tonight, which is wonderful. They did the photo shoot gimmick last week, and it was the most tenuous little, we're going to have a match next week, so we might as well do something. EC3 interrupting Cassius Ohno's photo shoot. Now, if somebody down in the box below can tell me why the fuck Cassius Ohno is having a photo shoot, shoved by Ohno to start in a front face lock, immediately gets an NX3 chant, which is fucking wonderful. They brawl on the outside, chops by Ohno, and a shoulder tackle back inside. There's another lariat by Ohno. He goes for the running senton, which is decent for a guy his size, but it's blocked by EC3, which makes me happy, and it follows it up with that weird sort of inverted DDT thing that he does. Extended mudhole stomp in the corner by EC3, and what I mean by extended is mudhole stomp, pulls him away, mudhole stomp, pulls him away, mudhole stomp, pulls him away, gets him out of the corner, and while all this random aggressive shit is going on, slows it down with a nerve hold. Fucking wonderful. High knee by Ohno and 2 forearms, senton by Ohno, senton on the outside by Ohno. One of those, if you're not going to let me senton you once, I'm going to senton you twice later in the match. Decent little storytelling by Ohno, I like that. Hangman and the 1%er by the 1%er for the 1-2-3. EC3 gets the win over Cassius Ohno. I like that. I know that's a lame thing, and I know it's lame every single time I say it, but I like it. It's like the Daniel Bryan silly kicks thing. It makes me smile. What else makes me smile? Really, really not much to say about this match, but at the same time, it's really great. Bianca Belair versus ALIYAH. Now, once again, I got to go back to, I've given Bianca Belair a lot of shit on this channel. I've tried to be real careful about how I give her shit, because in the ring, she's great. Athletic as fuck. Her abs absolutely scare me, because I don't have abs, that's a thing. But I don't like her gimmick. I don't like the hair whip thing. I think she could do without that. And if you watch this match, I think even she's getting sick of the hair thing. Go back and watch the amount of times that she's like batting it out of her face and whatnot. But I've never said she's not a beast in the ring. ALIYAH, on the other hand, got the Tyler Breeze, Dolph Ziggler role in here. Basically go in the ring and get thrown around by this person, which is really unfortunate. Now, yes, ALIYAH, hometown girl for me, and I'm personally a fan of hers. But I'm going to put her in the same category as Mandy Rose. Go ahead and laugh if you want. I've been to a couple NXT house shows. I saw how great Mandy Rose can be in the ring when you give her time, when you give her opportunity, etc., which never happened on TV. It's not happening on the main roster now, but I mean, it's the main roster, so it is. But ALIYAH is the same thing. ALIYAH is fucking fantastic in the ring, but she went out there, she got one whole move in the whole match, and I'm going to emphasize this a lot because it's the one move she got in the whole match. Forearm by BELAIR. I do love at the same time, because Mauro Ranallo was on commentary. Mauro Ranallo is also Canadian, so he's dubbed ALIYAH the dynamic performer from north of the border. It's a bit of a mouthful, but as a moniker, it's decent. ALIYAH doesn't have a last name, so give her a moniker. It's all good. Forearm by BELAIR to start, and a shoulder tackle. Side headlock by BELAIR, and a corner spear. Guillotine by ALIYAH is all we get from ALIYAH tonight, which is really, really sad. Splash to the back by BELAIR. Military press by BELAIR. Deadlift military press by BELAIR. I gotta take my hat off to her 100%. Looks impressive as hell. She turns it into a snake eyes, and then she gets her back up once again for a torture rack. They call it a torture rack facebuster, and then they went on to compare it to the Falcon Arrow. But folks, I'm gonna be a lot simpler. This is an upside down attitude adjustment. Like, take what John Cena does, flip the person that's on his shoulders so that they're facing up instead of down. This, what Bianca Belair does, is an inverted attitude adjustment. Belair gets the win. Belair is impressive as fuck, and it's not the last time we're going to see Bianca Belair tonight. I really do hope, and I know we've got this with Nikki Cross right now, where she was sort of at the bottom of the featured women on NXT, and then a whole bunch of people went up. The Iconics went up. Asuka went up. Who else went up? Somebody else. Oh, Ember Moon went up. Ruby Riott went up. And now Nikki Cross is obviously getting her turn in the spotlight. When the next, I don't know what you want to say, graduating class go up to the main roster, I really do hope one of the featured, primarily featured women in the women's division on NXT is ALIYAH. I know that was a bit of a ramble. I apologize, but I'm a fan, and I don't think she's getting utilized nearly as much as she could. Speaking of Nikki Cross, we get a video package for Baszler and Nikki Cross for this Saturday. Copy-paste what I said about the Gargano Ciampa video before, and we can move on. Backstage, we have an interview with Dakota Kai, talking about how she came this close, and it was a victory just for her to be able to stand up to Shayna Baszler. She didn't win, but whatever. She's interrupted by Bianca Belair, who, after everything nice that I just said about her, she does the most basic heel, why are you talking to her? You should be talking to me. Look what I just did. And I promise I'm never going to do that again. But Dakota Kai basically, you know, very calmly, very confidently responds, you know, hey, I got a lot of mind games played on me by Shayna Baszler, but those tricks are not going to be played by you. And they step together, and immediately I look at this. Dakota Kai is just pulling out of that ALIYAH incredibly underutilized role, which is really cool. I know they're pushing Bianca Belair. I know they're going to put Bianca Belair over. But a match between Bianca Belair and Dakota Kai is something that has my attention. It's not the main event. It's not the Shayna Baszler, Ember Moon, Nikki Cross, any of those. I mean, thank God we got rid of Lacey Evans, at least for a little bit. But it's a nice little undercard match, and it gets confirmed later on in the night that we're going to have that match next week as well, before we head into the main event. Or I should say the main event match. Here's something else I want to say about NXT. 50-50. They start with a match, or they start with a promo, one or the other. This episode started with a match. Yes, it was a squash match. Yes, it was a jobber match for the War Raiders, so that they could get out there and cut their promo afterwards. But the bottom line is that you started with action. That's always a better way to do it. But this week's episode closed on a talking segment, which, damn, it's not a very impactful way to close the show. If you put the talking segment here and put this match on last, yes, I know it's not the title match. The title match, you got to push it for Saturday. Rah-de-rah-de-rah. But sometimes you got to go against the grain a little bit. But Pete Dunne versus Kyle O'Reilly. Enough beating around the bush. Pete Dunne versus Kyle O'Reilly for the United Kingdom Championship. Now, as they're coming down to the ring, rightfully so, Nigel McGuinness on commentary, also from the UK, pointing out that O'Reilly can't win this title, or he shouldn't win this title because he's not from the UK. Now, Nigel McGuinness being from the UK is going to say something like that, and it's something that you're going to say about a region-specific title. But at the same time, you want to say, okay, look at everybody that's held the US title. Not all of them are from the US, and you wouldn't say the same thing. It's ultimate heel heat. It'll be ultimate heel heat for the very first non-UK person to hold the UK championship, but considering the rumors that that's going to have its whole separate show and its whole separate place on the network, I don't think that's going to happen. Once again, I say this is why we should be having Pete Dunne versus Adam Cole, baby, title, or sorry, not title versus title, but champion versus champion at the pay-per-view, but we're not getting that. We can't always get what we want. They trade some kicks to start, and there's a test of strength and a pinning reversal sequence. Kimura by Dunne is reversed into an armbar by Kyle. Dunne works the fingers. He does the joint manipulation, the shit that I love. Works the fingers, works the arm, snaps the shoulder back, and that looked pretty disgusting. Lariat by Dunne and an X-Plex on the apron edge. Surfboard wristlock combination by Dunne. Kyle takes out the leg. I should say, Pete Dunne came out after the attack last week, all bandaged up, selling the fuck out of the leg from about 1 minute into the match onwards. Takedown and a knee bar, right hands and a step-up enziguri by Dunne, a series of suplex attempts by both men and a boot by Dunne, rolling sit-out power, a running sit-out powerbomb by Dunne, which is nice, selling the leg the whole time, which is fucking amazing. Standing... I don't know what to call this. Again, it's where I run out of titles for things. But it was a standing reverse choke by Kyle and turns it into a brainbuster. Series of strikes and a hard forearm by Dunne. Bitter end is countered into a front face lock body scissor combination by Kyle O'Reilly. X-Plex and into an armbar by Dunne. Ankle lock by Kyle O'Reilly. Headbutt by Dunne. Both men go down from the headbutt, selling the rigors of the match, etc., which is really cool. High knee and a boot by Kyle, enziguri by Dunne. Dunne attacks the fingers again and eats a forearm by Kyle. Kyle tries to get out of all the finger warping, the joint manipulation. Out of his desperation, he thinks the only way he's going to get out of this hold is to reach into Pete Dunne's mouth and take out his tape guard. Dunne's having none of it. Sorry, not tape guard, mouth guard. Sorry, my mistake. It's late in the day. Dunne hits the bitter end for the win. Cole and Strong join in. Lorcan and Birch join in. There's all 6 men. Only 4 of them are fighting on Saturday. Sorry, Sunday. I'm used to saying Sunday. For pay-per-view, it is what it is. Eventually, it breaks down to Pete Dunne and I was going to say Michael Cole. What the fuck? I'm tired. Pete Dunne and Adam Cole brawl up the ramp, so the 2 tag teams that are fighting this Saturday can have the spotlight in the ring. But why are we keeping Adam Cole, Pete Dunne, off the pay-per-view? Let them fight each other. It's never going to be a bad thing, is it? Ah, fuck. 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, right? Aleister Black, I hate that this promo... Nothing really happened here. I mean, it was the last thing you saw on the show before the pay-per-view. It's the last-ditch effort to let you buy the network. I get it. Aleister Black, who shouldn't talk? I love Aleister Black. I love his gimmick. I love the entrance, the whole rise up bit, the rockin' entrance music. His style in the ring, he's fucking fantastic. It's way more than you expect from a wrestler his size. Impressive as fuck. I don't like him on the mic, personally. I know a lot of other people do. A lot of other people rank him pretty high on the mic. I don't. I not only don't want to hear him because I don't like him on the mic, I don't want to hear him because I don't think his character should talk a lot, even if he was good on the mic. I hope that makes sense. But he cuts pretty much generic, edgy babyface promo. Hey, you got one up on me last week, but that's not going to happen this Saturday, let me tell you what. Sullivan comes out, they brawl, and surprisingly, 3 freak accidents by Sullivan on Black. Not only that, symbolically carrying him to the gallows, throws Black over one shoulder, throws the belt over the other shoulder, drags him to the commentary table, lays him out on the commentary table. He's out like a fucking light, posing over him with the belt. If this is what we see on Saturday, I'm going to fucking cry. I really am. Sullivan's good at... I've said this before, and I'm going to keep saying it until it's not true anymore. Sullivan is good for what he is. He is NXT's Big Show. He is NXT's Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman's cool. Braun Strowman's one of the few things on Monday Night Raw that I like. If Braun Strowman is never the world champion, it won't hurt my feelings. Lars Sullivan is a big attraction guy, but NXT is a wrestling-based, smarky brand. It doesn't fit. It's why somebody like a Baron Corbin, who's a great character, who's a fucking asshole and good at his role, was never the NXT champion. if the mid-card title, if the North American Championship had been in NXT when Corbin was around, I would have had no problem with Corbin being the North American Champion. I wouldn't really have a problem with Sullivan being the North American Champion, other than the fact that I think it suits Adam Cole down to the ground. If this is what we see on Saturday, it's no good, is it? But what I will say, going into this weekend, it looks like a good fucking show. We got Fozzy doing one of the themes. We got Hailstorm doing one of the themes. You know I'm a happy guy there. If Hailstorm's there live, don't even bother tweeting me because I'll be busy. But you also know that they have the following week's episode of NXT is also filmed in the same building. So for that big building episode of NXT, we've got the War Raiders hopefully destroying TM61, and what I'm assuming is going to be a really, really decent match between Bianca Belair and Dakota Kai. Really, really looking forward to that. But Takeover, I hate to say it, because like I say, I'm a fan of Aleister Black. The match I'm looking least forward to is Aleister Black versus Lars Sullivan. But on top of that, we've got the Undisputed Era versus Lorcan and Birch. Now, they said it on commentary a couple of times. They were referring to them as the Brit-Am Brawlers, or the Brit-Am something or other, like British American. That can be a nickname. That cannot be an actual tag team name, because it's just it's Big Show Miz, it's like Show Miz, like Jericho. It's just like, let's just take these two things and slam them together. Don't do that. Just say Lorcan and Birch. It works on the main roster. You got Sheamus and Cesaro. I mean, they're Dabar, but I mean, they're still introduced to Sheamus and Cesaro, aren't they? It's going to be a good match. I don't get how you have Strong and O'Reilly fight, and you don't have Adam Cole, baby, fight, and you don't have Pete Dunne fight, because they are the key other than Roderick Strong, because Roderick Strong turned on Pete Dunne, right. But Pete Dunne and Adam Cole are such key elements to I don't get how they're not having a match. I know I keep saying it. I know I'm going to keep beating it into the ground. When we do our preview video tomorrow or Friday with Kristen and Guapo, they are going to get sick of me. I already know of this in advance. I don't get why we're not getting Cole versus Dunne, unless they're saving it for another show. Baszler versus Cross, I mean, you know who I'm rooting for there. Ricochet and Dream is going to be a great in-ring match, and Gargano and Ciampa has to be the main event. Every match on this card I'm looking forward to more than this brand's main title. That's a key problem, but it doesn't bother me because there's so much other good shit coming up on this show. It's going to be really good. I mean, after this, we're going to have Money in the Bank. We're going to have a couple good laughs about that. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. I want to say something before we go. Three matches. Roman versus Jinder. Big Cass versus Daniel Bryan again. Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley, because we talk about the Army and his sisters and such. But Roman Reigns versus Jinder, or Gargano versus Ciampa. I know what I'm leaning towards. What are you guys leaning towards? Anyways, I've rambled long enough, because I'm going to ramble a hell of a lot more tomorrow night with the guys. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.
Sunshine, if you're a freak like me.